You're tuned to Thursday Late Night Jazz. I'm Rusty Hassan, and coming up Monday night, part of Bernard Thompson's Jazz Piano at the Arts Club. Piano Jazz at the Arts Club presents Ron Stabinsky, and we have Ron on the line right now. Ron, welcome to WPFW.
Hey, thanks, Rusty.
Well, this is fantastic. You're part of an incredible series that Burnett's been doing for a couple of years now, and it's been one of the exciting series of piano recitals. So you're really in good company, to say the least. But tell us about yourself. How you got into playing piano and this improvisational music?
Well, it was kind of a long path. I started out playing as a kid. I was 5 years old, and my grandfather started taking lessons on electronic organ. So early on, I kind of had a non-traditional start in music. It wasn't classical, it wasn't jazz. I was kind of playing old songs from the 20s and 30s.
Wow.
And sheet music arrangements and polkas, northeastern Pennsylvania, you know. So through the years, I eventually got classical lessons, started to get interested in jazz in high school and college, and then kind of went through a period where I decided I didn't even know if I wanted to play the piano, moved to the Midwest. But through that period, I started listening to some of the more avant-garde jazz, and at a certain point, I had become really struck by the music of Cecil Taylor.
Okay, sure. Wow.
That kind of gave me a push in that direction, that you could kind of develop your own language, make your own music, right?
Now here's the question that I have to ask you. Was it through seeing Cecil perform live, or was it from hearing him on records?
It was records for me initially.
Okay, because he's someone that's really incredible in terms of the visual, to see him perform. And sometimes for the novice to the music, hearing him on records can be a little bit intimidating, to say the least.
Yeah, well, what happened to me is, sorry.
Yeah.
What happened with me is, I'd heard him a few times very early on where it didn't make an impression at all.
Okay.
And then it was a name that I was vaguely familiar with. And then when I started really looking into it, I started becoming really struck initially by some of the earlier stuff from the late 50s, and just how he could just generate idea after idea that was so interesting, even when it didn't seem to fit necessarily with what was happening behind him. It was like, wow, that's a good idea. Wow, that's a good idea. And so then that kind of led me in a little bit more easily, and then I just became really obsessed with the solo stuff from the 70s and the 80s. One particular listening session of it was a 1973 solo session he did in Japan in the middle of the night, May of 73, and it hit me right in the solar plexus, just like hearing late 40s Art Tatum. Just like, wow, the execution, everything about this is just perfect. Just felt so right.
Did you ever have an opportunity to talk with him?
I never did. We never spoke. At a certain point, maybe about 7 years into my journey of trying to make my own solo music,
sure.
I did send him a CD, and I said, what his music meant to me, and I said, I don't require any kind of reply or anything from you, but I just want you to know that I'm out here, and I do this, and what it meant to me. I actually, the person I did approach in person and mentored with for years was Bill Dixon.
Okay, sure,
so,
absolutely. Bill Dixon, another important artist that needs to be more recognized. Cecil did get some, but Bill Dixon not nearly enough. Who were some of the other artists besides Cecil Taylor and Bill Dixon? Which is really mind-boggling.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good question. I mean, there's so many. I mean, people often ask piano players in particular, and I love so many of them. Andrew Hill is really important to me. Paul Bley and Abdul Ibrahim.
Okay. Yeah.
But trumpet players, I have to say, trumpet players always kind of held trumpet players and drummers. But Miles Davis is what really changed my life in high school. Like, there was a great radio documentary called the Miles Davis Radio Project, and then it really changed my life. And then of course I mentioned Dixon. Later on, the work of Peter Evans, whose band I now am fortunate to play in. These are people who I would just drive 8 hours in one direction just to catch them play for 45 minutes,
Absolutely.
I don't know what it is about the trumpet players, but...
Okay. Well, I had a conversation many years ago with Earl Father Hines asking about the horn style. Who was he listening to besides Pops, besides Louis Armstrong? And he rattled off some names that I wasn't even familiar with, that he was conceiving this even as he was getting ready to work with Armstrong. So that concept has certainly been a long part of the tradition.
Yeah.
So who are some of the
connections?
When you're not doing a solo performance, who are some of the folks you're working with?
It's a pretty wide range of things that I do. People often tell me, and it's funny. More and more, it starts to seem like it's all part of the same process of listening. But I play in a band from New York called Mostly Other People Do the Killing.
Sure. Okay.
And we actually just had played in D.C. maybe a week or two ago at Rhizome. I mentioned Peter Evans Ensemble. There's a baritone saxophonist in New York that almost no one knows about, whose name is Charles Evans, and people should hear his work. We just finished. We're in the process of editing the third album of a trilogy with the two of us and Dave Liebman and Tony Marino on bass.
Wow, okay.
And it's beautiful stuff where he writes very introspective and polytonal kind of lots of poly chords, triple slash chords. Very thick harmony, very influenced by Schoenberg and Ives. Very chamber-like jazz. Charles Evans' music is incredible. I do a lot of kind of classical collaborative accompanying work. I just recorded the Brahms violin sonatas with a violinist named Sophie Till.
Wow.
And I'm playing in the rock band, the Meat Puppets, Phoenix, Arizona.
Wow.
And I just joined them this year, so we have a record coming out in about a week.
Wow.
First one with the original drummer in 23 years. Derek Bostrom's back in the band.
Boy. Well, I have a daughter that lives in Phoenix. I have to have her check that out, to say the least. So tell us about. Go ahead with that. We'll
be playing. Tell her we're playing an in-store performance at Zia Records in Tempe on April 2nd.
Okay.
So maybe I can meet her. I'll say we were just talking.
So you got this concert coming up on Monday night. It's part of the solo series of piano recitals that's happening. What should people expect? We're going to play some of your music when we get finished talking here, but
I mean, it's a real honor to be on this series, and I wasn't even sure. I mean, when Burnett asked me to do it, I just saw some of the other artists on it. I'm like, do you know what I do? Because I gave him a solo CD, which is it's fully improvised music. It's piano music. And it's funny because I was worried that maybe it was not close enough to jazz for this kind of series, and then Burnett sent me a YouTube promo that he made where I'm playing the strings inside the piano with dental floss and headlights.
Okay,
so I thought, okay, he's
it's really part of a series. Now we're in a fundraising mode. We're here to raise money for WPFW as part of as all public radio stations do. And so I actually have 2 pairs of tickets for the performance for a pledge of $60 for anybody that calls in the pledge line of 202-588-9739 or pledge online at WPFWFM.org. So again, we are the station that supports places like the piano series at the Arts Club or performances at Rhizome. That's quite a location also where you played at with other people.
Oh, it was amazing. What a great audience.
Yeah.
I mean, I look forward to being back there again.
Good.
And I definitely would urge anyone out there. Stations like this, it doesn't even have to be a big donation. We just need more people supporting institutions like this. It's so important. I mean, what you do, there aren't many people who do what you do at the level that you're doing it. So it's amazing. I hope people will help continue it.
Absolutely. So again, Ron, you're at the Arts Club of Washington. That's Monday night at 7 p.m. and they're located at 2017 I Street Northwest. And for information, you can go to send an email to Burnett@pianojazz.com. Burnett's just been marvelous with all that he does for the arts, for music here in Washington D.C. And he's cutting back on the concert stuff to do more of his own piano work. But this series just has been such a blessing to our community, and I'm really happy that you're a part of it. So
I am too.
So we're going to. I got to actually queued up the first cut after it's over, and then we'll do one a little bit later on. What's another cut that you would like the folks to hear after it's over?
Let's see. After it's over, you want like long or short? What kind of?
Fairly short. What about this 5 or 6 minutes is fine. So we'll do something else a little bit later on. But I want to get into your music now as we continue our begging on the air for folks to call in.
Yeah.
202-588-9739 is the number.
I would definitely play Once But Again, the closer.
Okay, we'll do that. We'll definitely do that. And again, Ron, I want to thank you for calling in and participating in this program that Burnett's been doing. Ron Stabinsky, again, the Arts Club of Washington, 2017 I Street, Monday at 7 p.m. Don't miss it. After it's over is what we'll hear now, but it's not over. Thanks again for calling in, Ron.
Thank you so much, Rusty.
Good.
Okay.
202-588-9739. Folks, call now. 202-588-9739. A pair of tickets to Ron's concert for a pledge of only $60.